And we should be live now. Let's double check. Ah, there we are.
Well, according to my email, we're live.
All right. All right. You guys have your what you've been playing?
Yep, that's good to go.
Yep, me too.
All right. All right. Let's get started here.
Indeed.
Knock this out so my PS3 doesn't burst into flames while I have it paused.
Yeah.
What's going on with your PS3?
I'm fighting the last boss battle in Ni no Kuni. And I was like, oh, it's 1 o'clock. Gotta go. Alright, you guys ready?
Yep.
And rock steady?
Yep.
Yep, let's do this.
Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Over there's Knobs.
So,
And joining us in between moving weeks, the Hannah.
What's going on?
Wanted to remind everyone, starting tonight, Monday the 25th, TVGP Game Club number 11, starting it back up. Starting it off with a bang of the often requested Alan Wake. So for all the details, go to the forums and check out the the Game Club subforum. It's all the details about what we're playing, where you can get it, how much it costs, and if you're going to be live streaming, make sure to put your URL in there, and I'll add it to the archives. But come join us; should be good. You have a whole month to play everything Alan Wake, so that game is not that long, so there should be plenty of time.
And it's fantastic. So.
And it is quite good. All right, let's get started with Knobs. What you been playing?
all right. Well, I had my token Monday Night Game Night, Left 4 Dead 2. You can probably check the online gaming thread for the recap, which are getting more and more elaborate as they go on.
Yes.
Apparently, there's some spreadsheet in the works that has over 6 months of Left 4 Dead data for us
Criminy.
to
That's
enjoy.
awesome.
Not quite years like it was, but we're working on it. So that's a good time as always. Played some more Mag with Nintendork. I think All My Tooth made an appearance, even though he's off mic. Had a good time running around there, kind of running in and out of phone calls, so I really couldn't stay that long. But
Yeah.
I still enjoy that game, and I'm getting better with the shotgun.
Yay.
So
Nice.
that's apparently that's a tool to use really well in that game. Played some more DOA 5 sporadically throughout the week, just kind of earning titles so I can finally unlock Alpha and then start working on costumes, because I'm all in at this point now. I just can't stop. I get a free moment, I'm gonna pound through a tag ladder or something just for the fun of it.
Did the patch come out for 360
No,
yet? What the
nope,
heck?
not yet. Yeah,
Oh.
February. They're kind of running out of February. It
Yeah.
was supposed to be out January 29th.
Yeah, you don't have much of it left.
No, but apparently, I really hope. I can't wait for not so much the balancing, but just because some of the fights that I have with Seven Hender are just, you couldn't choreograph fights as crazy as we're having.
Yeah.
Like there's parts where I'm doing a running sweep and he's like somersaulting over top of me, like just unbelievable like swings and misses that we have.
Yeah.
That just are just perfectly timed. Like, what Bass does, his like turns his back and flex. Like I catch him in like a dodge move on that last part of it, and just dumb stuff. And it just, some of it is just, it's not like you're sitting there trying to like not get a lot of like the like you're trying to catch it, like just instantly down, caught, over, around, back up, fighting, caught again. It's insanity.
It's the DOA 5 ballet.
Most of it is. It's just, and it's just funny because we fight so similarly, and like the second one of us changes our tactics, it takes the other person about a round to adapt, and then we got to move again to what we're doing because everything's getting caught.
Yeah.
It's just craziness. He got the upper
dealer.
hand of me today, though. He got me. He was 16 for 30. I was 14 for 30. So
Oof.
Oh,
so we're fighting a lot, and we're doing three round battles. So they're
there
long.
you go.
Wow.
And finally, the coin flip yielded Crisis 3.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Starting out good.
I really don't know.
Yeah.
It
How-
seems
how-
to be.
How many hours are you through it?
I'm fighting the Alpha Seth, so I think I'm at the end of the game.
Wow. Okay.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this is short, but I played a lot of this game during the course of this week. I'm frustrated with the story because the main plot thing, unless I'm completely crazy. All right, since we can talk about two pretty freely
Yeah.
at this point, did Prophet officially take over Alcatraz by the end of that game?
It seemed like it.
Because my big problem is that so far, everyone in this game just refers to him as Prophet as the same old guy.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there, I'm screaming at the TV. It's not the same dude.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm crazy
Am I taking crazy pills?
because I mean you run into Psycho again, and he has his suit surgically removed from him. So he is upset, to say the least.
He's messed up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's still, a functional killing machine, but he's very, very aware of that he misses it a lot.
Ah, right.
And I get that. I mean, hell, you're a crackdown agent, and you just got that torn away from you. It's going to suck.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're but a
But-
mere mortal.
But a lot of the conversation is like some of the times you're knocked out, you wake up, and no one took his goggles off to see what was underneath it. You'll be the first. It's like unmasking Batman.
Yeah.
Like, you have to look. You have to.
I'll leave the mask on. It's fine. I don't need to know.
Nice.
But it's just it feels more like an expansion. For some reason, the gunplay isn't as fun as it was in the other game. None of its game systems are very well explained.
That's weird.
Like you find your little goggle packs or your nano packs or whatever they're called. I don't even know. I don't even know what they're called.
Card
They're
packs.
upgrade things. You don't even know what they are.
Yeah. For every
See-
hole you finish, you get some coins, and then you pick up a card pack, and then you have better vision.
Well,
That's
nothing seems to help. Like before, you had the little things on your fingers where you could actually upgrade your.
Yeah. So you're
Like you actually had a noticeable increase in your skills and whatnot. This, you have like this Rosetta wheel that getting in and out of it is a disaster because you think you hit B to get out. No, because why would that make sense? You have to hit the back button again.
Ugh.
But you just tap the back button to get in the menu, and you want to get out, but B locks a set of buffs to that button.
Ugh.
So if you hold B, locks a set, Y locks a set, and YXB are the three that that locks sets of these things. But you're sitting there trying to get B, and you keep changing your set. I'm like, I don't even have this stuff unlocked. What are you doing?
Oh, crisis.
But even in that, as you're playing, like you spend a lot of the time in the tactical vision mode where your gun's down, but you can see like all the items up, and you're marking enemies and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the entire time it has that icon for, all right, hold it to unlock nanovision, tap it to remove. Is like right here, like the
Oh.
whole. It's these two D-pads staring you in the face, like this in the way of everything.
Ugh.
It's like, all right, I'm 10, 15 hours in this game. I don't need to know this anymore.
Yeah. I think I have the D-pad controls down.
But it's just, still flipping the bumpers, for the armor and the invisibility. That stuff still works really well.
Okay.
But the vision and using the HUD is just overly in your face, and it's driving me nuts.
That's such a shame with how subtle it was in 2 and how completely gone it was in 1.
Two, it did like two was just the information you needed to know, and
Mm.
that's it. You pull up your
Yeah.
tactical map, you mark your guys so you can see them in the world without seeing through it without line of sight stuff.
Right.
The hacking mini game is just frustrating. Um, it has like this wavy line and stuff, and it's got these things that ping up and down. You got to catch them at the point and on the
Oh.
line. But you pull it up in the middle of a firefight, and you're just getting torn up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Is the bow fun at least?
the bow is the best weapon in the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what I've heard.
It's so versatile in the whole like fighting Seth. You better have electric bolts because one electrocuting bolt just works every time. Um,
Nice.
Headshots against the Seth kind of suck. The sniper rifles are all nerfed. It's like 5 or 6 rounds to put a Seth down.
Oof.
And you can't track them either, so they're all over the place. And you better just you don't even bother being invisible trying to sneak around these things because they're gonna find you. Everyone has a million-mile vision.
That's a shame.
Sneaking is just frustrating,
Yeah.
and you never seem to have enough battery to get to the point where you want to get hidden. And stealth kills are just so hard. I mean, everybody's always alert, and it's driving me nuts.
It's weird. Montag in chat says, every time I hear the words hacking minigame, I cringe. Yeah. Or like, lockpicking minigame.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, like where I am in the game, like I've unlocked the skill to the point where it does half of it for me. If it's 2 nodes, like it does it automatically. So I just get. So that's not so bad, but it's just when there's. I swear to God, it seems like there's a million of them. There's probably only like 8. And it's like the first 3, and you're like, and it's like all over the. Like, just stop. Want to do this, but you have to do it to even have an opportunity to kill the thing.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, I love the hacking in Syndicate because it was just this progressive line
yeah.
that you do in battle. You can still fight as the things were coming at you.
Yeah, that was more of an active reload sort of mechanic than an actual hacking mechanic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that worked fantastically. Whereas this, it seems like it stops the firefight dead. Like you turn invisible, you hack this thing, and your hackers eat battery as your invisibility's using battery, and it's just
I'm just so surprised that it sounds like they really missed the mark, especially with how great 2 was.
well, 2 had such an unexpected turn really early.
Yeah.
Like you're like, what do you mean I'm playing as this Marine named Alcatraz? That's
Yeah.
like all right, and then you come across the big baddie from the first game, Prophet, and he just caps himself, and you're like, what?
And it's just like, wait, what's happening now?
I'm gonna get in that jelly-filled suit because I'm busted up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. There's no stopping that one. But the game looks fantastic. I can't.
Well,
get
yeah, you expect that.
The bow works really well. I like you can always stay invisible with the bow, so you kind of get out in the open and shoot 4 or 5 bolts. The cool thing with just the standard bow and arrow is you can actually go out and collect your bolts again.
Oh, nice.
So the later half of the game, yeah, spots to get new arrows is sparse. So you get down to 2 or 3 bolts, you know exactly where they all are. So I spent a lot of time, like after I shoot all my bolts out, I pull up my map and I mark them all in my HUD so I can see where they all are, so I can get them on my way down into the caverns.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
But a lot of like the systems, like apparently I've been supercharged a few times and didn't even know it.
Huh.
I don't know what it does, or because it happened with the Alpha Seth. Like I'm sitting there, like, holy crap, this thing can't hurt me. So I'm just gonna stand here, plant down, hook up my ion cannon, and just shoot the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's gone. You're like, how do I get that back?
Yeah. How did I do that? How can I always have that?
Because the next time he attacked me, he killed me and he one-shotted me. I'm like, that's awesome. Thank you.
Oh man.
And that's the point where I turned it off. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go play some DOA
Yeah. I'll go punch some stuff.
because
go.
I felt like punching stuff. It just, I don't know. I really hope it has some awesome thing at the end of this, but the whole story seems extremely convoluted and just not making reference. It makes reference to the first game excellently, where there's name drops from the other characters that I never even remember their names from the first game, but they came up and like this, and even in your data logs, it even recognizes that Alcatraz is in that suit.
Oh, interesting.
But it doesn't reference that at all. Like it's like Prophet's psyche and voice have taken over everything. At one point, I just want to say, dude, you just don't sound right.
Yeah. Yeah. Something seems weird.
And no one questions it. No one.
Weird.
So, but yeah, apparently I opened some Rosen bridge to the other side of the galaxy is where the Seth are coming from. So,
Something about a rainbow bridge. I don't know.
well,
Thor's going to come through there.
it's like
Yeah.
I'm really, really tired of every bad corporation being named Cell. Why is it a Cell?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Pick another C word. Come on.
There you
It's
go.
nuts.
Come on,
It's-
Industries.
Yeah, there isn't.
They were bad. Come on.
We're the bad guys. Come on.
Come on. You didn't see it coming. Come on.
But it was like the second you get it, it's like, oh well, we got to fight Cell, and I was just like, oh, whatever. I'm done. Like 30 seconds into the game, I'm already annoyed.
I like that this game just can't win with you.
I'm upset because what's driving me even nuts is I keep reading how much fun Metal Gear Rising is. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Why couldn't it come up Tails?
4 hours of fun.
See, what you do is you do the coin flip, but you don't go by the result of the coin flip. You just flip it and go, oh, I want that one. And you
Yeah.
go with
Really, I was on the fence. I was as 50-50 as I could between the two games, which one I wanted to play more. I was like, I really, really enjoyed 2 a lot, and I loved the shooting and the guns and playing with more stuff. It just seems like everything was nerfed. Even that gun that shoots through everything just doesn't seem as fun.
That's
It
a
only
shame.
shoots through some of the things.
Not even, it doesn't shoot through anything. Like,
Yeah.
I remember,
You know-
you remember that scene where you get up to that door and that dude just starts capping you out. Like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
And you pull up your nanovision, it's like, oh, he's on the other side of the door, just lighting me up.
Wow.
Oh, crisis.
I love I'm talking about 2 more than talking about 3 at this point.
That's probably the most telling thing.
Yeah.
I really did. I love 2 a lot. I think everyone should play 2 because it is gorgeous. I like the scenery in this game a lot, too. New York turned into a tropical jungle. It
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah.
And there's
That's
so much stuff to crawl around in and different paths to get. It doesn't seem like a linear path, but it just seems like just goes. All roads go nowhere. Like it just. I don't know. I'm just.
A jungle full of dead ends, man.
I wanna finish it and just be done with it at this point.
Yeah.
And I didn't have too much fun playing with the multiplayer. I thought it was clever, and I like being killed in interesting ways, which that is game with invisibility lends itself a lot to.
Yeah.
But it just, I just see myself just raging out all the time because here I am tracking this dude down. He turned the corner and I go by him. Oh, he's invisible behind me. Great.
Ta-da! Mission Impossible.
Surprise!
Yeah.
But no, it's just
Well,
I don't
have
know
you?
what I was expecting, so I shouldn't be this upset. But from what I know of the series and what of the storyline, it just doesn't seem to be on par or even follow the line, the trajectory it should have.
Yeah.
Like it's going in one direction. No, we're gonna go this way, and we're gonna make a dull game just to make sure you don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
They're
Hooray.
blasting you with mediocrity, and it's driving me nuts.
Well, you played anything else this week?
No, that's it.
All right, Hannah, what you got?
Well, I've got a small selection of games because I was anticipating, moving this week. So everything's kind of packed up except for my PC and a few select pieces. But I started off with some Borderlands 2. Actually, hooked up with Musum online and helped him finish up the Captain Scarlet DLC.
Nice.
Which, I mean, that's just a blast. That DLC is really fun, and I find it hard to believe that they actually went out to a different company to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
It's so in line with the rest of the game and the rest of the universe that it's, I'm surprised, especially after all the Colonial Marines fiasco. But
Yeah. However that game happened or went or whatever.
that game wasn't made; it was born.
I wouldn't say it was born. I think it was summoned from somewhere off.
There you go.
There was some sort of black magic involved.
It
Probably.
congealed out of whatever Crisis 3 is trying to be.
Yeah.
But I've also been playing a little more True Vault Hunter mode, and now that I'm a little ways into it, it's not as punishing as it was initially, which is really nice because I can actually play the game without wanting to punch my monitor. That's a treat.
That's always a plus.
But it's more Borderlands. You really can't go wrong with it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, I've been playing a bunch of Saints Row the Third.
Yes.
I mean, you guys have sung the praises of this game to the ends of the earth, and I don't know how much I can add to that. I mean, I haven't run into anything in this game that wasn't fun, and I think that's the most praise you can give to any game ever.
Even like
It's just
side quests, which are
Yeah,
usually
even-
like, I don't know, drive over here and do something. Just like,
Yeah.
I want
Yeah,
to.
here, let's hop on the back of an AT and throw Molotov cocktails at everything, because why
Yeah.
not? Because that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
because you can.
Yeah.
Well, and my favorite part is the fact that this game isn't overly punishing. Like, I can get 5 badges and 5 stars of notoriety. Oh, hey, look, there's a shop right over there. I'm going to hop in really quick, and all that's wiped out.
Yeah.
And then you just hop back out and continue with your game. You don't have to,
Yeah.
that was one of the more frustrating things about the GTA series to me was, you can get, 5 stars or whatever it is, and you gotta figure a way out of that. There's no, real
Death.
quick, easy. Yeah, you're either gonna die or you're gonna find yourself a really nice weapon and
Yeah.
somehow outrun this.
One of my favorite things about the Saints Row thing is you hit have the entire city chasing you. You hop into a shop, you come back out in a car that's clearly is you can roll out in a tank
Yeah.
Yeah.
and come back out. The entire city that was just chasing you, just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, they're just like,
they're all
where'd he go?
dispersing.
Yeah, what do we do now?
I don't know what happened.
You wanna go get a burrito?
Maybe it's the 8-bit tank over here that he's in.
yeah, exactly. Maybe it's this 8-bit tank that a toilet is piloting.
That was the other thing I was doing a lot of today was the tank mayhem missions,
Yeah.
which are just they just go here's a tank, destroy stuff.
Yeah.
Finally, something that lives up to its name.
Yeah, that's,
Like,
that is tank mayhem.
It is no more, no less.
Yeah. Have you met the mayor in Saints Row the Third?
Not yet. I'm not quite at that
Okay.
point.
do you know who it
actually
is?
I've actually managed to avoid finding out who that is.
Okay, I definitely won't spoil it for you then.
Text me or call me when you get there.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I'll throw you a text. I mean, I just got Zemos and like the 3 Steelport guys that are supposed to be like your
Yeah.
guides around the city. So I'm not far into the game, as a whole. I've been doing a ton of side missions.
If you
Because
call up
it's so-
anybody, call up Zemos every chance you get.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's awesome.
How's it going, playa?
The auto tune is fantastic, and I love that
man.
it's like it's the pimp cane that he just puts right up here.
Yeah. God, it's so good.
It is absurdity the game. That's all it
Yeah.
is, and I don't think there's any more I could have asked for out of it. And
Yeah.
I think I spent maybe $15 on the whole pack. Like I got everything with this game.
Hmm.
And I think my favorite thing right now is if I'm in a big firefight and I'm not, either in a tank or, just absolutely destroying stuff with rocket launchers. If I'm actually in a firefight, I'll take, there was some DLC pack, I think, or I don't even know if this was originally in the game, but you can grab the hostage and then you click in the right thumbstick and you do like a vampire bite and you restore all your health.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in the free one.
Oh,
Like
okay.
the very first pack.
Wow.
Oh, that is so convenient because I can sustain way more damage than normal. It's like, okay, I'm dying a little bit. I'm going to grab a hostage. Yeah, I'm about to go down. Click.
Have you got the chum gun?
Yeah, the one with the sharks. Yeah,
It's like my
That
favorite
is-
thing.
I need to get the DLC for that game, apparently.
Well, yeah, you have a like the most disgusting looking fish, like stunned like this meat grinder thing,
Oh,
and it
God.
shoots a shotgun blast of chum out,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden a shark comes out of the ground and just starts eating people,
Land
and it's like
sharks.
pops them up and goes. "Arr, arr, arr." It's so good.
God, I love this. Like, any
Yeah.
other game would be like, that, I don't know, shark gun, like, that's
Come on,
kind of
we're-
dumb, and you're like, hell yeah.
We're
Shark
nowhere
gun.
near water, so
Yeah.
Like sharks are in the sewers is part of the
You don't
keep
need-
the gag on it.
You don't need
And-
water for land sharks.
and strong enough to pop through concrete.
Yeah.
Or in buildings. It's awesome.
Yeah. We're 30 floors up. How did you do that? Someone capture that thing. We need to study it.
God, everybody needs to play this game.
It really
Uh,
do.
And the
I
mind
can't seem to
control
praise
squid
the
gun that's like a bazooka.
Oh yeah, and you
It
can
looks
just
like the bazooka, the NES Super Scope, and it just boom, it shoots these little squids, and they got this like weird tendril thing. That's it's
Oh,
awesome.
man.
it reminds me of the Futurama brain slugs.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so just playing some Saints Row the Third just to just to play it because it's an experience everyone should have.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been staying on top of Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions, just doing battles here and there. I'm finally at a point where I've leveled a bit and I can start changing jobs around
Yeah.
and start experimenting with all the different job combinations, and that's going to get real fun real quick.
Yeah, once you can start doing that, like, it's sort of interesting. It never really encourages it, but you're sort of like, well, I sort of trained as an alchemist for a little bit. Maybe I'll try a knight. Oh, but I can still carry. Oh, I can still throw. Oh, and you like the light clicks on, and you're like, oh, now I get it. This is
Yeah,
gonna
well-
be crazy.
So far, from what I've seen, my favorite skill set in the game so far to have just for leveling up is the fundaments from being a squire. Because
Yeah,
you
they
just
changed
throw
the name, but yeah.
Yeah, you can just throw rocks at people. If you're out of range of attacking and you still want to get some job points or you want to get some experience, just chuck a rock at somebody.
Yeah, it only does like 1 damage, but whatever.
Who cares? You're still getting experience and probably almost 15, 20 job points for it.
Yeah.
So. And then that skill set also has the focus ability, which is just you don't have to do anything,
Yeah.
and it raises your attack and you get job points and you get experience.
Yeah.
I could probably just roam around a map and just power level characters.
What's the last story event you did? I'm assuming you're still in chapter 1.
I think we just got done with the Corpse Brigade stuff.
Okay.
Where not the guy in charge of it, but the sub guy. I'm terrible with names.
There's a lot of people in that game too.
Yeah,
So
and they've all
don't
got
feel
real
bad.
weird names, so
Yeah.
it's a little difficult to keep track of. But the I guess vice president of the Corpse Brigade was really behind the plot that happened, and that was the last major story event.
Mm.
But the only other thing that happened was I think Delita's sister was taken as well.
Oh yeah.
I may have hit a little bit farther than that, but
Yeah.
not much. It's mostly just been grinding because it took me forever to realize that I could just go from point to point and eventually I'd hit a random battle because there was only 5 points on the map at
Oh
first.
yeah.
So I'm sitting here what am I supposed to do?
I'm like level 2. What's happening?
So I think I'm at level 10. I'm way over leveled for where I'm
Oh,
at
yeah.
this point.
It will make there's sort of a famous fight really early on in that game where you go to some sort of slum, the Dorger slums, I think it's called,
Okay.
where you fight against a couple of black mages, and you should be over leveled on that because most people go in there and they're like, I got this, and about 2 turns later, everyone is dead, and they're just
yeah,
like,
that I already did that fight actually.
Oh, good.
It took me about 7 or 8 tries.
Yeah.
and I was not happy with it because it's like, oh, they have two. I'll just get, oh wow, they can really move. Huh.
Yeah. Oh wow, I just
Like they're moving 4 or 5 spaces at once. Like most black mages are moving like 3.
yeah, and then they like burn you to a crisp in one turn. It's just like, wow, this game does not pull any punches. Jesus.
It really doesn't, and that's part of what's keeping me going on it.
Yeah.
You know, I like the fact that there's a bit of a difficulty. Like I feel accomplished once I've played this game for a little while.
Yeah, like you can finish a battle and you're like, whew, man.
I did something with my day.
Yeah, I made it through that. I got
That
stories
seems-
to tell.
It seems like such a thing for that genre, though. For not just Japanese strategy games, just in general, to have that one fight that's just going to destroy you unless you're on your game.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot like I was thinking about Platinum games today. I was thinking about Vanquish, and there's a lot of games like that, and like how Platinum makes games where it will give you every opportunity to learn it, and then at some point you have to learn how to play the game. You know, like
Yeah.
they're like, okay, well, training wheels are off in this seemingly random battle, but you got to have this stuff down, and if not, you better learn pretty quick.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
really my block with Vanquish was I enjoyed the game, but I didn't get very far in it because I didn't put the time into it. I just kind of went, oh, that was cool. Put about 4 hours into it, got to some boss fight where it just annihilated me. It's like, well, I guess I'll play you in a couple of years.
Yeah, Vanquish is great because, like, at one moment you're like, wee, I'm sliding on my knees, woohoo! And then next minute it's just like, wow, that guy just shot me in the face and I exploded. How does... Is this the same game?
Yeah. That's I mean I got the same vibe. Like it seems more like Japanese developers seem to have that knack of you need to learn to play the game to actually enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas that's where I think that's probably where my frustration is with Crisis 3 is I know how to play the game.
Yeah.
And I just feel handcuffed the entire time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Too much
Lollipop
hand-holding.
Chainsaw, the second you start running into named zombies is where, like, yeah, I really need to dodge and learn how to attack this thing.
Yeah.
Or this thing's going to tear me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Japanese games tend to keep you a little more on your toes. I feel like Japanese designers tend to expect a little bit more from the player, which I respect and appreciate.
Yeah, that way you can't just brute force your way through the game where it's like, well, I got 20 health packs, let me just do this.
Yeah, and it's not unfair. Like it can be unfairly punishing, but it's not to a point where it's just I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm completely frustrated. It's okay. Clearly, I need to dodge faster.
Yeah.
How can I do that?
Yeah.
Clearly, I need to play better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there needs to be more skill on my end. Not this game's unfair.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real separation in a lot of American versus Japanese design philosophies.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've been playing a couple games on Android. I've been playing Ruzzle, which is pretty much just a Scramble with Friends clone.
Nice.
That continually signs me out for some reason, which is incredibly
Sounds
frustrating.
just like Scramble with Friends, yeah.
Yeah, well, the worst part is I have two-factor authentication on my Facebook account, so every time I sign in, I not only have to input username, password, I have to wait for Facebook to send me a 6-digit code on my phone so I can input that. And then it doesn't keep me logged in.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, I'm not going to turn off two-factor authentication just to play, a game like
Scrabble.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, was
Boggle.
Boggle. That's it. And the other game I've been playing was something I just happened across on the Android store, the Play Store, called 7x7.
Okay.
And it's this little puzzle game, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You play on a 7x7 grid. And there's each square fills in with a color, and you can move that color around to a different square. But each time you move a colored square, it produces 3 more. And the goal is to line them up and in rows of 4, either vertically, horizontally, or diagonally, and it'll eliminate that row of 4. Whenever you do a row elimination, though, it doesn't pop up new squares. So if you're just arbitrarily moving stuff, it'll keep throwing squares at you till the board fills up. But if you set it up so that okay, so I'm going to clear these 4, diagonally, and then I can clear these 2, this orange one vertically, and then this blue one horizontally. Every time you clear a row, it doesn't add more squares, so you're actually clearing out the board, and it's addicting.
Yeah, it sounds like it's that sort of simple thing where you're playing and you're like, this is okay, and then 4 hours later you're like, what happened?
Yeah, it's one of those where you're kind of like, okay, this is simple enough that I know I can master this, and then 4 hours later you go, why is this game still beating me?
Yeah.
You know, you're not angry at the game, you're just mad at yourself because you're not doing it well enough.
Yeah.
And that's been a lot of fun. Like, I'd highly recommend it. It's free, so you really can't go wrong with
The
that.
best price.
Exactly. And that's pretty much all I've been playing.
The only game that I've played this past week is Ni no Kuni, and I actually have it paused right now at the very final boss battle. Um, man, this game. So minor spoilers
Okay.
for the end of Ni no Kuni. I was super high on this game going into the final boss battle. And it's this awesome looking, like, super dark castle, and it's got, like, lava running through it. It's sweet looking. I get to this final boss battle, and it's like a standard JRPG, you know, like, oh, I beat the really easy first boss, and then he transforms, and then I have a really tough boss battle, and then they transforms into something huge. It's, like, way off the screen, and that battle is really tough, and I'm using all my items, and it's super rewarding because I'm just managing to scrape through, and then that's not the ending of the game.
Oh no.
No, yeah.
Oh no, they pulled a Final Fantasy IX.
Oh man, yeah, but not nearly as well. Because I was like, man, that was a really good game. Like, I'm having stupid howling cat. I'm having a really great time, and like that was a great boss battle, and this story is wrapping up really great, and the main character's like, see you guys later. Oh, wait, that's not actually the ending of the game.
Oh boy.
And the rest of the story in the game is not nearly as engaging as what was before. It is way over convoluted and just unnecessary twists and turns. Like the final dungeon is really cool looking, and it's the sort of big, complicated JRPG dungeon that you really like. But at this point, like, I just kind of want to be done with it so I can do the really tough stuff after the game is done. You know, once they leave the world open, you know, going and doing the rest of that stuff, you know, doing all the rest of the side quests and the hunts and crazy, you know, like my favorite stuff is, you know, the crazy extra JRPG boss battles. You know, where it's nearly impossible and you have to have the best equipment that you've made yourself, you know, all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's okay. It's fine, but at this point I'm sort of like, well, I didn't really need this stuff. You know, I didn't need all this craziness. The rest of the game was really great by itself, but
Yeah.
that's all I've been playing, so let's take a break.
All right.
I gotta go check out what's going on. I'll be right back.
Oh, I gotta take a leak.
Oh.
Whoa.
That's what happened. Sorry.
It's okay.
I just was afraid the house was on fire.
That was my concern too. Yeah.
The house is on fire.
I know it's.
No, that was our concern.
I guess I have to buy a new kettle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Sam, what are you doing?
Well, she was probably yelling because I was burning the house down.
Probably.
She was probably mad.
Sam, say hi to chat. Hi. Oh boy, you do not want to be held today. Well, now you're stuck to me. Come on.
Do you need help?
No, I got it. Alright. Alrighty. Hi to everyone in chat. Nice to see a whole bunch of people watching this week, and a lot of you are in there chatting.
Alright, boom. Come on. Come on. Come on. Boomer, come on.
Oh, so Montag, what I'm drinking is it's water. There's these sort of tablets you can buy called Orange Alert, made by
Camelback.
Camelback. Yes, thank you. And it basically, it's just like turns water into orange flavored caffeine water. It just happens to look like urine when it's on this camera. But it's really tasty.
Oh, oh. What are you doing? What are you doing, Boomer? I wish I could get him to howl on command. That's like the funniest thing. Oh! Come on, Boomer. Boomer. Oh! Boomer.
Montague.
Oh!
Boy, they don't like anything with that at all. Montag in chat says, one of these days Boston will join us PC gamers. I do some stuff. Now you just start them fighting.
Nah, they're not really fighting. Oh boy. Let's get that on cam. Come on. Oh! Alright, Sam, get your ball. Where's your ball? Oh boy.
Jeez.
Oh boy.
Whew, and we're back.
Alrighty, you guys ready to talk about some PS4?
Oh, yes. Let me get the show notes back open.
Oh, stop it. Don't get your stuff on camera.
Sam, come on. Don't be a jerk. Alright, did I share show notes with you guys?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I got them.
Already.
Pop those open because there's a lot there.
Darth Seabass says PS Foe. Indeed. Pele
PS4
Station.
show.
How many old TVGP titles do we have about?
The PS4.
The PlayStation in general. We had Pele Station, we had PS Foe. We had something else, I don't remember what.
Nice. Let me get my titles up here. Alright.
I wish people would stop putting pictures of dogs on Facebook because I feel bad. Like beating dogs.
Oh, yeah, that's not okay.
Or dogs that are sitting in shelters. I mean,
Yeah, thanks, Sarah
I
McLaughlin.
have to stop it. This makes me sad.
My name's Sarah McLaughlin, and I'm about to ruin your whole day.
Alright, you guys got show notes and stuffs up?
Yep.
Let's kick this off so I can go
So
eat
much
lunch.
to do. So much. Alrighty. You guys ready?
Yup.
Alright. Ready in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. We got downloadable games.
Yay!
Our arcade cabinet for XBLA and PSN is $400. $400.
It's a real arcade cabinet. They ship
Real
to your
arcade
house.
cabinet comes right to your door with nothing on it other than the words cap and com.
Yep.
That's 400 points, and it's free on PSN.
Yep.
How about that? Serious Sam Double DXXL for XBLA is 800 points.
Game is crazy. That game's crazy, man.
That is crazy.
Guns stacked on other guns.
It's crazy. PlayStation Plus members get Vanquish for the PS3 for free. That's awesome.
Go get it.
Yes.
Mega Man X Maverick Hunter for the PSP. That is free as well.
It's a remake of the very first Mega Man X game, if I remember.
It's quite a bit of fun.
Really?
Thing.
I love
Yeah.
the first X, but I've never played that remake.
Yeah, it's just very pretty.
All right. U.S. release for the week of February 25th, 2013. A Train Odyssey 4, Legends of the Titan for the thirds.
There's 4 of those things now?
Yeah, this is the very
Wow.
first one I've purchased, and I almost don't want to play it, but I figure I should give one of these a shot. and just wait for it to beat the crap out of me.
Because it's going to.
It will, and
Yeah.
it will love it.
All right, it's a good week to be in the UK. UK release for the week of February 22nd, 2013, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance for the PS3 and 360. Crysis 3 for the PS3, 360, and PC. And Persona 4 Golden for the PlayStation Vita.
Oh yeah. All right, let's move on to news stories here. I guess we should probably talk about the PS4, huh, guys?
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's
Yes.
just
I mean,
it's very little.
Did anything else happen this week?
Nah, yeah, well, a lot of other actually important stuff, but come on, PS4.
yeah.
So,
Oh, show.
for show. All right, let's go through. I just wrote down what happened in chronological order in the PlayStation announcement town hall thing, whatever.
Whole thing.
The state of the PlayStation Union. So something that's really interesting that I thought was sort of telling is that Mark Cerny did most of the presenting this time. For those of you that don't know, is a very, very prominent Western developer. One of his first games at the age of 18 was Marble Madness. Pretty much made that entire game, and has worked on most games that come out. So for him to come out and say, I've been lead hardware architect on the PS4, and we're not going to do the same things that we did on the PS3, that was a good note to start on.
I could have hugged that man.
Yeah, I think a lot of developers could too, because he started out saying our CPU is an x86 based architecture processor. And for those of you at home that think that's a 32-bit chip, it's not. It's just x86 is the architecture they're running on. So what's great is they are doing a 180 from the PS3 and saying, if you know how to write stuff on the PC, congratulations, you can put stuff on the PS4.
Yay! Thank you.
You don't have to retrain people for parallel processing or sell this and whatever. You make games now, you can make games for this thing. Boom.
That's awesome.
And they said, hey, have you been making stuff for the AMD Radeon? Great. We got one of those in this too. We got a supercharged AMD Radeon in this thing. You know how to write for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they dropped the big bombshell and said, RAM? We got plenty of that. We got 8 gigs of RAM in this thing. What?
Yeah.
That is just GDR5 too.
Yeah, GDDR5 RAM, 8 gigs. That's crazy.
Hot. The
Yeah.
I/O speeds on that are insane.
I wasn't expecting them to go over 4 gigs, and they're like, nah, we got it. We got 8 gigs.
Well, because
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, why not?
Well, I mean, especially if you're going to plan your console for having a similar life cycle, which, even if it doesn't, I mean, at least they're planning for that many years.
Yes.
They also said every version of the console has a hard drive built in,
Good.
which is great. I think that's going to be really important this gen, where every developer can say, well, they have this, they have that, they have this, and then all these other things can be optional, but you have a pretty robust hardware suite at your fingertips. So, Montauk in the chat says, my PC only has 4 gigs of RAM. Time to upgrade, I guess.
Yeah, that makes two of us.
Probably.
I'm rolling on DDR2, so this is a
Wow.
sad little box under my feet here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just buy a PS4.
Yeah, right?
All the other things, a Blu-ray drive, faster Blu-ray drive, USB 3.0, gigabit Ethernet, wireless BGN, Bluetooth 2.1,
Excellent.
which some people were surprised that they didn't go with Bluetooth 4, but they don't really need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just for the controllers, and they're not going to have Bluetooth headsets anymore. So
Why would you pay the extra licensing fees to have Bluetooth stacks that you're not going to use?
and more
Yeah.
expensive chips. Buy really super old chips, super old licensing. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. HDMI, some sort of analog connection, SPDIF,
You know,
the
the
normal.
problem with their Bluetooth, with the Bluetooth wireless and it was just the matter with the headsets, and that was a UI problem, not
Yeah.
a hardware problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they pretty much gave it all up this time. Speaking of the controller itself, so they brought out the controller not too long after that. They spent a long time at the beginning talking about, why they were going with this architecture, really selling it to devs and saying like, hey man, you already know how to do this stuff, so do it for us.
Yeah.
And you don't have to learn this crazy new processing architecture. It's just x86.
Which is the best thing Sony could have done at the beginning of this. Like, that's
Yeah.
what they needed to get the elephant out of the room, because the cell processor was a nightmare to code for, according to a
Yeah.
lot of developers.
According to pretty much all of the
Everybody.
developers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they did show the the controller. It looks a lot like the leaked prototype. They said it's still not 100% done, but it's 95% there. Has the two thumbsticks like normal. All the normal buttons you come to expect, except they removed the start and select. Now, rest in peace. They are now options and share.
Which I think is a good decision. I think the
Yeah.
start and select have run their course, and they're no longer really. I mean, the whole point was, in the beginning, you had a start and select button on like the NES controller to
Yeah.
start the game and to select options from the menu.
Or select one players or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nowadays, you want to hit the options button because that's really what you're going to look for. And we'll talk about sharing in a little bit. But the screen that it appeared that the console would have originally is just a touchpad, sort of like what the back of the Vita looks like. And
Which-
thankfully, no back touch on the PS4 controller. Yay!
Yay!
Good choice.
I'm kind of excited to get my hands on that controller. It
Yeah.
looks like it's a bit bigger than the DualShock 3.
Yeah.
And I think navigating through panes with a swipe on that little pad is going to be a joy.
Yep.
yeah.
And the thing that they didn't talk about, which is really weird, is that the triggers are back from the PS3 controller, but instead of sloping down, they slope up. Which is
How
to
it should
me-
have been in the first place.
Yeah.
yeah, to me it's a really big change, and they're just like, yeah, I know it has some buttons or whatever.
Yeah,
And
so
I
you can
couldn't
catch your
quite-
finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't quite tell, but did it look to you guys like the thumbsticks were now concave rather than convex?
A little
Yep.
bit, yeah.
Yeah, which those are my two biggest gripes about the PlayStation 3's controller, were those triggers and the convex joysticks, because
Yeah.
your thumbs just slide off of those things.
Yeah,
you
it
have
should
nothing
have a
to
lot less
grip
sliding.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a light bar on it that replicates a lot of... Go
How
ahead.
hard are you pushing on these thumbsticks for? Did you need that extra bit of dexterity?
Hey
I
man,
get
I got
very
some,
intense.
How
I got some
clammy are your
sweaty hands,
hands?
man. I'm doing a lot of sliding. The controller has a little light bar on it that replicates a lot of the PlayStation Move stuff, especially with the new PlayStation Eye bar thing. That's pretty much a Kinect, which is great.
Which they just glossed over, which I was like, they're like, and it's got a new camera, and
It's
it's
got-
totally connected.
It's got two cameras and it can see all the controllers moving on.
Yep.
It's basically a Kinect, which is great because
It
there's a
works.
lot of capability to be mined from that stuff, especially if you can sense all those controllers.
Yeah.
And they did call it a DualShock 4, but apparently it does have a little bit of 6-axis stuff in it too. So
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
you probably need for backwards compatibility anyway.
Yeah.
And the weirdest part is it has a headphone jack built into it, like the 360 controllers, which I was sort of surprised that they weren't staying with the Bluetooth headsets, but either they were too hard to manage or too expensive to license, or were just kind of a pain to use.
I think it's probably just the ease. It's something easy they can pack into a box that's extremely cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look, you got a headset now.
Yeah, plug in your iPod headphones, whatever. Let the customer take care of their own headset. Not Sony's problem anymore. Yeah. The very first game they showed off was Knack, a game that seems to be honchoed by Mark Cerny, which looks like an adorable platformer Sony-style game that has this little guy that sort of magnetizes stuff on him. I'll buy it. It looks great.
It actually reminded me, at least in spirit, of Tokobot. I don't know if you remember that one. Little Tokobots where you could, like, form them up into little different formations, use them as a ladder and stuff like that. It seemed kind of like just like an extrapolation on that same concept.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that they went with something so stylized for the first live demo.
Yeah.
Or rather, even video demo. I don't know if it was live or anything, but it was
They had a
it was
live-
an interesting choice.
Yeah, and I think it was a right choice because I think everybody expects them to come out with here's another Call of Duty. It looks really great, doesn't it, guys? But they were like, no, look, here's a really cool looking, differently stylized, sort of maybe more family focused game coming right out of the gate. So I thought that was a really smart move.
Yeah.
They spoke a lot about screen sharing. And they surprisingly glossed over it pretty quickly, but they said you can play every game on your PS4 or on your Vita. Very similarly to how you can do it on the Wii U, which is pretty great because that's what I want on all my consoles.
Well, the only barrier there is price.
Yeah, admittedly, but
if you already have a Vita, it's awesome.
Well, and if you're a big Sony fan and you've been if you've been waiting on the Vita for some reason, now you can say, well, it's a second screen for my PS4, so maybe I'll buy one now and play PS1 and PSP games on it and PS4 games later. It makes it into a lot more of an attractive proposition.
Yes, it gives it. I think it's really the kickstart that the Vita is going to need in a couple months here.
Yeah, exactly. They're also talking about sort of extending some of that stuff to iOS and Android devices too, which
is awesome.
Which is awesome, and I think it shows a lot of Sony sort of maturing here, where it's like, I think the Sony of old would have been like, you don't have a Vita? Why? What? And they're like, well, everybody has a smartphone, so just use that.
Sony's been really, with the, I guess it's the Xperia line of phones. They've been really active in Android development, and they've actually committed a few changes to AOSP.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Which is just shocking for a company like Sony to go, we're going to contribute a whole butt ton of code to an open source project.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, like, you can sort of see the face of Sony changing a little bit.
Yeah.
And
or at least
I like it.
That was the thing that amazed me. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but the thing that amazed me about the whole PrepCon is it seemed like Sony did the research and they said everything right they needed to say.
Yep.
It was almost to the point where it was suspect.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, this is almost too easy. So the next stuff they started talking about, which is sort of going along this the Vita stuff, is they're talking about their absolutely crazy online stuff. And they talked about so much stuff that I have a bunch of bullet points here. First and foremost for me is purchase a game from the PS4 PlayStation Store, start playing it immediately. Boom.
Yeah, Gaikai just paid for itself.
Yeah. Above and beyond that, want to try a game, start playing it immediately, straight from the PlayStation Store. You don't have to buy it, you don't have to download a demo, boom. You're playing the full game. Probably, like they do with PlayStation Plus, you have the hour-long look at the game. Yeah. Probably the same thing where, boom, I saw my friend just bought, this brand new game. Let me give it a shot. Start playing it immediately.
Yeah, that's just really impressive tech right there. I mean, that's the Gaikai purchase really, really paying off.
Well, and Sony made a big point to say that they have a discrete chip on the board to do just background downloading and streaming stuff, which is really impressive.
Genius.
And they're not half-assing it. They're really saying we want the core of this console to do this basic functionality, and it's kind of crazy. You can watch your friends play natively. They really came out front and said, a lot of people love live streaming. A lot of people love watching people play games. Do it on the PS4. and we're integrating with Facebook and Ustream. So you want to hook up
Nice.
with your Facebook friends, you can do it. You want to live stream your own stuff? Great, do it on Ustream, which is probably a pretty big win for Ustream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, and eventually the PS4 will learn what sort of games you like and what sort of games you really like playing, and then start making in-console recommendations. And then there's an option of you also turning on, hey, a new game comes out that is in my wheelhouse. Just go ahead and start downloading that.
I keep
Yeah.
thinking of Gene's picks from Seinfeld.
Yeah,
It's like the movie store. Unlike Zach's picks, they're all so pretentious.
yeah. Oh man, that'd be great.
That would be awesome.
And then they started talking about, which is a pretty big thing coming from Sony, I think, where they started talking about, the idea that their console is always going to be on and not online, because they came out front and they said, no, you don't need to do that. But you press the power button, it goes to sleep. You press
Yeah.
the power button again, it wakes right up, and whatever you were doing before, you're right back into it. And while it's been off, it's been downloading a whole bunch of stuff. Firmware
Yeah.
updates, patches, DLC, all this other stuff. And they came up with they presented it really well, where I feel like the PS3 and the 360 both have this problem of, all right, I'm going to sit down, it's going to have this long boot process. All right, let me sign in. Okay, now I'm in. Let me go pick my game. It's got all these loading screens, and oh, now I need to download something, or oh, my PS3 or 360 has a firmware up. And like 15, 20 minutes later, you're finally playing a game, and then you're done. Like, I'm too tired to play something. But I feel like that's surprisingly respectful of the player's time, where Sony hasn't been in the past, where it's been, oh, let me turn on my PS3, I'll check the store. Oh, I've got a firmware update, and it doesn't even say what it does. I can't sign in now? Like, how long is this going to take? And they're just like, no, we'll do that in the background. We got it.
That's the thing I love so much about the Vita is it doesn't matter where I'm in the game. I hit the little power button, set it aside. It's as good as pausing and just
Yep.
and leaving your console on. It's just
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah. So I mean that all of that stuff is really great and really consumer focused for once, because it's not the Sony of before, where it's like, well, of course you're going to buy it and you're going to deal with this stuff because it's Sony, and they're sort of saying, well, you got better things to do. Like maybe your kids want to watch something on the TV. Play Knack on your PS Vita, which they showed at the conference. They could have been BSing it, but the idea is good, and you got 10 minutes to play a game. Great, pop it on.
Yeah.
You're still in your game. Boom. Like all that stuff is really great and a really great change to see.
Well, especially for us as adults, like we only have like a limited time to play, and we might. Like you said, like the 15-minute boot up sequence where they can go and make a cup of coffee or pot of coffee
Yeah.
by the time
Yeah.
that your game's ready to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas this, like you can sit and if say you get that phone call, you can just hit pause, put the console to sleep, and go, and not worry about, oh, I hope there wasn't a power surge, or hope there
Yeah.
wasn't the internet didn't go out, but
Yeah.
because your spot is already saved.
Yeah. 'Cause
Or I hope my most recent checkpoint wasn't an hour ago.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, God, I hope I saved. Like, where does it save? Like, I hit
Yeah.
save and quit. Did it save? Like, I don't even. You just trying to put it to sleep.
Yeah, and like Borderlands 2 does that, where I'll be 3/4 of the way through like a dungeon or like a specific area in Borderlands 2, and it'll be like, well, I have to go, and I'm playing on PC, so I can't just like minimize that bad boy. That thing's got to go. I got RAM to free up.
Or even like Ni no Kuni that I'm playing right now. You can save anywhere in the world except when you get into a dungeon. You save at the beginning and the end of it.
Yeah.
So like, if you haven't made it to the end, and that's like one of my big things for this is why I'm so excited for the PS4 is I don't have a lot of time to play games now. Like by the time I'm done commuting and working like a 10-hour day and eating dinner and kind of like chatting with my girlfriend about how our day was, like I maybe have half an hour to play something, but if most of that time is taken up with patching and installing and all this stuff, I don't play a lot of games during the week anymore because of it. I'll play my 3DS or my Vita because I'll pop it open and start playing something. When I go to bed, close it, and I'm good.
Yep.
So that's really promising.
Yeah.
The next thing they showed, Guerrilla came out to show Killzone Shadowfall, which looks like a first-person shooter. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to disparage the game. It looks beautiful and it's a Killzone game, so it's going to play great. But that's not really what we were here for at this conference. You know.
Yeah, they've got to trot out the big brands though,
Yeah.
so you can't really fault them for it.
Yeah. It looked good. It looked
Yeah.
beautiful too. I mean, like, man, if the PS4 can do that, like, yeah, I am much more interested.
Yeah.
Evolution Studios came out to show Drive Club, which they touted as, we've been wanting to make this game over the last 10 years, and it basically sounds like a driving game that integrates Tiger Woods country club stuff.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
I'm not a driving game fan, but yeah, sure. To each their
Yeah,
own.
and I don't like that many driving games, but it looks good. They didn't show a lot of gameplay. They showed a lot of car porn stuff. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're modeling the leather on this, and we're modeling the rug like if you would put your feet on it and whatever. I don't. Come on, we're
Feels
not-
like lambskin on your toes.
like come on, that was a bit much, and how understated the rest of this conference was. That was a little weird.
Yeah.
They talked about a bit about self-publishing PS4 games. So what's really great is, and the URL is open now for anybody that's interesting. I hope you all are watching the live stream.
I was curious.
Oh,
The final
good
verdict
God.
is, yes, they smell.
I thought you were gonna pull a Richard Stallman and like eat something off your foot.
Oh man, that video still turns my stomach.
All right. Stop.
Let's settle down, dogs. So back to the PS4. Anybody can self-publish on the PS4. You want
That's
to make a
awesome.
game? You want to put it in the PlayStation Store? Great. The URL is
Oh.
open right now. You can register.
That's fantastic.
Go
Like
crazy.
that.
That's surprising from a Japanese company, and that shows to me, especially really interesting with Microsoft looking like they're going the other way, where it's like indie games. You don't want those, right, guys?
And, like that's gonna. If they nix the indie games from Xbox, that's gonna push that purchase off for me for a while.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like that's not okay.
yeah. Well, and we'll talk a little bit more about Sony wooing a lot more developers as we go, but that's surprising and impressive. That's a good change of heart.
Now, the thing that concerns me is I really hope this is good for all of us if it's true. Is if the Japanese market really embraces the online aspect of the console,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because right now it's just flat out ignored.
yeah. The next thing they showed off was a very concerned gentleman came out and wanted to talk about security, safety.
Yeah.
And in the end, they announced a new Infamous game, Infamous Second Son, which a CG trailer, and it'll play great because the Infamous games are really, really good. But it was a bit of a weird presentation.
That was really. I've seen white hat hackers that are less concerned with security than that guy.
Yeah, it was a very somber middle portion to
Yeah.
this. Next came out Jonathan Blow, who very clearly did not have a script.
Yeah.
And he showed off the newest build of The Witness, debuting on PS4, which we were talking about Xbox Live Indie games. This is probably the biggest nose thumbing that happened this time, where Sony very subtly said, remember that really big game you had on XBLA? And remember how you screwed Jonathan Blow because of it? We got him.
Yeah.
He said he wasn't going to work with consoles anymore, but we got him.
Yeah.
I think that said more than a lot of people I think were realizing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people. There was a lot of stuff on Twitter floating around how people thought Jonathan Blow came off as kind of. I think the best word would be a little pompous and
That's
a little.
just Jonathan Blow, though.
Yeah, like he's just kind of like he was just trying to overcompensate for the fact that he was on stage in front of a boatload of people.
Yeah, showing
Like, I
off
don't-
like a first-person, almost point-and-click adventure game.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he's showing off Mist in 2013. Like he's gotta oversell that a little bit. He's
Yeah,
gotta
you got to say some stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. David Cage came out after that from Quantic Dream and crapped over all over classic cinema, which was in poor taste, and then showed off a tech demo of a really old dude,
Yeah.
so who looked like Larry David.
Yeah, Larry David with long hair.
Yeah, Larry David with long hair. So I really respect the stuff that Quantic Dreams makes. So I'll play their PS4 game, but
Yeah.
that was weird. I sort of, this gets to the really weird portion of the weird middle portion of the press conference where things just get weird.
Yeah, and I really feel like at this point, David Cage, like Peter Molyneux's kind of out of the spotlight now. David
Yeah.
Cage is just taking that mantle right up.
Yeah,
He is this generation's Peter Molyneux, and
yeah, and that's
he,
not a
like,
position you want to be in.
almost went full Molyneux
Yeah,
during that press conference.
man, if
which
he would have been talking about growing trees over your game,
he never
full
got
on
full
Molyneux. The next thing that came out was Media Molecule, with sort of a love letter to the PlayStation franchise, and also talking a lot more about the PlayStation Move, which was interesting that they had waited that long to say, like, oh yeah, the Move works on the PS4. But they showed off really cool tech demos of, like sculpting stuff in midair, and then they said, well, they showed this whole thing where they built a city using the Move on the PS4, and all that looked really great, and then they showed off this really weird demo of people playing instruments with their Move that, I mean, it could look fun, but they didn't really explain what was happening.
Yeah, I had no idea
Unless-
how anyone was controlling anything.
Yeah.
Unless it was Terry Crews and flame sacks, I don't know.
Yeah, I just like it looked fun, but and a lot of people are like, well, leave Media Molecule alone. They make fun stuff, and it's like, yeah, they do, but I would rather see somebody build a city like they were showing with a Move instead of, a dude doing this with the drums and some marionettes are playing a guitar. And it's like that could be a lot of fun, but I don't understand what. I don't understand what you're showing me. It all looks great, loud noises and sounds, but what?
But everything before that, all the sculpting stuff, when they were doing all that, I was picking up what they were throwing down.
That was
because
really impressive.
It was it's a brilliant tool for that sort of weird process. Because if you've ever done, I went to design school. I did a little bit of 3D modeling. If you've ever done any of that stuff, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting there, you're messing with individual triangles and polygons, and
Yeah.
to get the shape of a human head out of a mouse and a keyboard, or even on a tablet,
Yeah.
is a Herculean feat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to have this midair sort of Iron Man-esque or Minority Report kind of
Yeah.
interface for that,
Like a true
is-
3D interface.
yeah, I could easily see this being, moved over to computers, and you have like full-on art studios working in this. You almost call it a new medium. I mean, it's
Yeah.
digital sculpting. It's not
Yeah.
3D rendering. It's not 3D imaging. You're literally painting digitally
Yeah.
in the 3D space.
Well, I hadn't really thought of it like that, but they would serve themselves well if that new PlayStation Eye bar thing that they have, if they would open source those drivers for Windows and Linux and OS X and just say, like Microsoft started to with the Kinect before they kind of crapped the bed on that one.
Or just stop caring.
Yeah, before they really
Yeah.
stopped caring, they were like, well, you guys got it to work, just go crazy. See what
Yeah.
crazy stuff you can make. Here's a PlayStation Move controller and then PlayStation Eye, plug it in your PC, it works. Figure out stuff to do with it.
Yeah.
That sounds great. They went back and sort of unsurprisingly hid this in the middle of the press conference, saying the PlayStation 4 will not natively support backwards compatibility with PS1, 2, or 3, which makes total sense. I mean, they're
Yeah.
doing a complete architecture change, so they almost can't without rewriting like base level code for 3 different generations. And then they came out front of it and said, well, we're seriously looking at this cloud platform that we have that we've been talking about this whole time for backwards compatibility streaming of your games for PS1, PS2, and PS3. And when you start talking about that, then great. I mean, you could have all of the catalog for all three platforms available there, and maybe even available on the Vita.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see how you lose there.
Yeah, I mean,
I like they were out in front of it too. Like
Yes.
it wasn't like, well, it might be in some SKUs, but not all.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
There-
Montag brings up a good point in the chat. He says, this makes me super upset, though. You have to rebuy games that you own, and then you don't even own them digitally. You're streaming them. I think that's the real thing that Sony's going to have to get out in front of is, all of us have a huge PS1, PS2, probably a sizable PS3 collection. What do we do with those games? Are you going to offer them for really cheap or free with a PlayStation Plus subscription, or am I going to have to buy what is essentially my entire collection again? I'm curious to hear what they're going to do about that.
I would be interested to see them take almost a Hulu Netflix approach where you pay X amount of dollars a month. Maybe it's a little, you have your PlayStation Plus membership, but this is something, slightly separate, where you can just stream a whole library.
Yeah.
Maybe PS1 for $5 a month, PS2 and PS1 for $10
like
a month,
subscription.
and PS3, everything beyond that for $15 a month. I mean,
Or
I'd pay for
you
that.
have your library tied to your PSN account, and whatever games you own, if you have PlayStation Plus, you can stream the games that you already have saves for.
Yeah, or the ones you bought on PS3, like your PS1 games
Yeah.
you bought on PS3.
I think they've already come out and said that they're not going to be doing that at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, so which is a bit of a odd move considering everything else they've said.
But I think if we start talking about, PlayStation Plus accounts and subscriptions, I think they could easily come forward and say, classic PlayStation library, pay $20 more per year.
Yeah.
And then you have another bolt-on option, then you can play everything the PlayStation Family Collection has to offer. That
Nice.
sort of thing. I'm
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be a great deal, and it would save a lot of headaches from having to rebuy a lot of stuff again.
Yes.
and that would be kind of crazy.
Yeah, and it rewards you for, you're a little more invested in the platform monetarily, but you're
Yeah.
not just rebuying individual games at this point. You're getting access to 20 years of content.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yoshinori Ono, one of my favorite video game people of all time, came out to talk about Capcom's new engine and then showed a working title game called Deep Down, which is apparently in the new genre of Demon's Souls and Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
And that looks pretty okay.
Yeah, I think it was called the Panta Ray engine or something like that?
Yeah, something like Panther Ray.
Yeah,
Laser.
it was a really weird name, but it's odd to hear any Japanese company talking about their game engine.
Yeah, other
It's
than
just
like
unheard of.
Square
than
Enix.
Square.
Square Enix was talking about the Crystal engine, which didn't happen,
Yeah.
and then the Luminous engine, which probably isn't going to happen either.
Yeah, but that's not their development style. Most of these places don't license or sell. They develop their own engine,
Yeah.
and then customize the bejesus out of it.
Yeah.
And by the time they're done with the game, they can barely even reuse it because it's so ingrained in
Yeah.
the play style of the individual game that they've made.
Yeah, it's very much the classic game development where we're starting a new game, let's start a new engine.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Speaking of Square Enix, they came out next and showed off the same tech demo they showed off at TGS last year or whatever it was, which is still very impressive. But and then they said, well, please wait for E3 because we're going to be talking about a Final Fantasy game for the PS4 there. See ya.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Just the audacity they have to just... it's one thing to come out and show the same video, fine, you need to show something, you're Square Enix.
Yeah.
But to have someone come on stage and say, we've got a new Final Fantasy thing, but it's not here.
Well, they didn't even
Bye.
say new. They said, we'll be talking about Final Fantasy for the PS4 at E3. So, don't
okay.
announce announcements. That's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as, having a countdown web page for an announcement. It's dumb. You gotta stop that. Ubisoft showed off Watch Dogs again. Showed off a brand new demo for it. Still looks really great. Still really want to play that game.
I'm sitting there going, oh, I know where that is.
Yeah. It's also neat to see a game in Chicago because there
Yeah.
aren't any, I don't think.
which is a real shame because it's made for video. It's an incredibly walkable city. I mean, I'm biased, but
Chicago's a great town.
it is.
And first of two surprises here at the show, Blizzard comes out and shows Diablo 3 for PS4. What?
Okay, fine.
They've showed a bunch of screenshots of like interfaces and stuff after that, and they've totally rewritten the interface for the PS4, and it looks interesting. I'm surprised that they're doing it, and I'm surprised that they're coming back to consoles. A lot of people were saying like Blizzard's never made games on console. It's like, don't you remember Rock and Roll Racing? Huh?
Don't you remember
Blackthorn?
Lost Vikings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone should remember Lost Vikings.
Like they were a console and OS 7 developer back in the day. Like when Halo was still an RTS game, it was going to come out on the Mac. You know, like this is not a weird place for them to be coming out, and for Sony to get something like Diablo 3, that's pretty interesting.
But of all the games that really lend itself to a console, Diablo's it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like playing a hack and slash. Like one of my favorite 360 games, I played the crap out of Torchlight on the PC, and I played the crap out of it on 360 because they managed to
works.
make it work. You know,
Yeah.
and I think they finally have a framework to do it. And Diablo 3 will look great on PS4.
Yeah, and actually, Montag in chat says Diablo 1 was on PSX.
Yeah, that's true. I
didn't
forgot about
work
that. It
very well, but it was
wasn't.
there.
Yeah, it wasn't very good, but yeah, it happened. And then Bungie came out to show off Destiny running on the PS4. Showed a lot more gameplay stuff than they've shown before, and said, "Yeah, it's coming out on 360, PS3, and PS4."
Yeah,
So
it looks cool.
that's
It looks at
probably
least interesting enough for me to check out.
yeah. We talked about it a little bit last week, but that's probably a pretty big get for Sony. You know, they made a very big thing of saying, well, you know, oh, they've been slaving away on the Xbox for a decade, and now they're coming home to roost. You know, that sort of thing, which they have to do. But you know, it's pretty interesting, and that's a pretty big win for them. And that was pretty much the end of it. And I gotta say that's a hell of a conference they gave, and I was not expecting to be excited about the PS4, and I am all the way on board.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. I mean, there's a couple things like, you know, the elephant
Price.
in the room really is price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it may literally be an elephant. So
Yeah.
And what does the thing look like? And
Yeah, I don't think I really care too much about what it looks like because it's going to be a black box.
yeah,
yeah,
You
but I
know?
like to see the black box. You know,
Yeah,
like it's still a shell or some form factor,
Yeah.
and have it look completely different. Just something tangible that people can latch onto.
Well, that's my response to people online being like, well, I'm not going to buy it if I can't see the box. It's like, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
it's not going to be something where you look at it and you go, like, it's not going to look like the boxy box, where you're like, where am I going to, how am I supposed to put this in my living room? Like, where?
I do love that thing though.
It's great, but like I can't stack it on top of my DVR, you know, like, and I don't think they'll come out with a box that is anything. It's not going to be an orb you have rolling around your living room, you know. It's going to be a black box that you feed DVDs into, and then you put on top of your 360, you know, like it'll be okay, but.
If it floats in the room, I'll pay $900 for it.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Just
I'll
right here.
I'll pay all sorts of money. But I think the only deal breaker here is definitely going to be price, and I think they need to address that very early at E3, if not sooner. And I really hope they don't make the same choices as last time.
Yeah, I could see them doing the exact opposite of that, actually. Instead of coming out in front of the price, just 2 weeks before they're going to release it, start running commercials with the price.
Yeah.
I can
Or
see
have
them doing
multiple
that,
SKUs.
just because you build it up, no one knows how much this thing's going to cost, no one knows exactly when it's going to come out. About 2 weeks
Yeah.
before release, you start releasing the release date and the price alongside it, so you can get on that hype train, and people will pay whatever. I mean, the general populace will just go out and buy it.
For me, I think it's, you know, Sony and Microsoft standing on opposite ends of a river, pointing guns at each other. and just waiting to see who pulls the trigger first on price. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people, they don't care about the console. It's going to look great. Most of us are going to buy it anyway, but I think one of the two, I think they're waiting till the last minute to pull the trigger to see who goes first.
Yeah.
And then that determines, you know, like Microsoft, when Sony announced the price of the PS3, they were really worried, and then when it came out at $600, like, pfft, we got this, we're good,
Yeah.
we have nothing to worry about. And one of the two of them are going to say this time, like, yeah, that other dude is crazy, like that's way too much to charge for a console. And then,
Yeah.
but how high is that number? I don't really know. But man, it's nice to be talking about new consoles. Yeah,
I know.
man.
And not a handheld for once.
Yeah, like a real, like, look at this
Flippy look.
game, look at this, look at all these particle effects. Yeah, you know, it's
Yeah.
a real new, tangible console. Man, E3 is gonna be great.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun year.
Yeah. All right, so we don't need to talk too much about the PS4. We're gonna be talking about it for the rest of the year, for the rest of the decade, most likely.
Yep.
So let's move on to other news stories. A lot of other stuff happened this week. Tiger Woods 14. EA started talking about the game, and a lot of it has been more courses, meh, you know, that sort of thing. But the thing that we are interested in is the Country Club updates.
Yes.
The 25 player limit has been raised to 100. Yay!
I could have sworn it
Friends
seemed
list.
like a lot more than 25 people were in our country club at one point.
It did, but I don't know. 100. Drop something. But 100 is. Should we start clapping like in a restaurant?
Oh no.
100 is a lot of people, and that's a monstrous country club. There's a new club loyalty bonus, which is a little bit different than how it worked in 13, where players get more coins the more consecutive days they play. So keep playing Tiger, keep getting more coins.
I hope they fix the way you earn coins, that you can buy pin packs a lot quicker.
It seemed like that's what all of this is getting to, where you're just
Yeah.
getting coins all the time. Because they responded to what people disliked about Tiger 13 pretty straightforward, where they're like, yeah, you buy the game, you got all the courses.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy them with coins. You don't have to master these other ones to unlock other ones. You got it. So it seems
That's
like
good.
they really tried a lot of interesting things in 13, and
Yeah.
not all of them worked, and I think they're looking at it again, which is
Yeah.
good.
Polishing it up this year.
Yeah.
I still
Playing-
want Crazy Tiger at some point.
Yeah. I wish. Playing regular games online updates your stats in the country club. So,
Ooh, nice.
you know, you're always feeding stats into the country club, even if you're not playing country club based games, which is great.
Nice.
And then pervasive chat lets you chat with your country club mates even when you're not in the country club, whenever
Nice.
you're playing Tiger. So you guys are playing totally different stuff. Great. And talk to other people in the country club. And
Wow.
that's kind of neat.
That is.
Make it into a kind of a little community within your game. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Next news story here, super bummer. Kenji Ino passes away at 42.
That is a bummer.
Passed away far too young with
Yeah.
heart failure. Most people don't know who Kenji Ino is because he was very secretive. He didn't like being in the limelight, but he made some very famous games, D2, and Enemy Zero, coming out for Sega platforms, and then worked on a bunch of very famous Sega games, doing a lot of planning, doing a lot of programming, but made a lot of really interesting and really off the wall and genuinely unique games in the way that we don't get anymore. By the way of unique meaning, there is only one of these types of games.
Yeah.
He actually made a game for blind people at some point where it is controlled completely via sound. So
Wow.
there are no graphics at all, and you are wandering around an area that is completely your environment is mapped completely by sound. So making genuinely different and genuinely interesting games, and just had such a hard time throughout his career of getting Sega to, there's a famous story where he was putting out, it was either D or D2, and Sega said, yeah, we'll make 100,000 copies of that game. I think it was D because it was his company's first game. And they said, well, we're actually going to make less because we need to make this other game, so we're going to make 40,000 copies.
Oh.
And then because they took pre-orders for 100,000 copies, when the game came out, Sega had pressed 28,000 copies of the game, which almost sank his company, Warp. So he's always had a really hard time in the industry, but he loved making games. And it's a genuine shame to see somebody like this not only pass away young, far too young, of course, but to see we have so few video game auteurs, like Jonathan Blow, like like Phil Fish, that sort of thing.
I'd put Tim Schafer in that category as well, personally.
Tim Schafer, absolutely. Like a lot of designers that just make the game they want to make, and different games, and they don't really care if anybody plays it. They just want to make the game they want to make. So it's a shame, and rest in pieces, good sir.
Rest in pieces.
Peace. I mean, haha. Next news story: Ziff Davis shuts down 1UP, GameSpy, and UGO.
Ugh.
Shocker.
Man, this is
Jerks.
I understand why they did it. They have decided to support IGN and AskMen.com, which are both pretty much the same site at this point.
Yeah.
Since IGN is very brotastic. It's such a shame. GameSpy has been such an important part of the industry for so long, and has focused on primarily covering PC games for, they said something like 14 to 17 years. I mean, forever.
Yeah, GameSpy was one of the first gaming news sites I ever really latched onto, and it's really a shame to see that go away.
I mean, it came out around the time of, like, Blues News.
Yeah.
Just an institution around the web. 1UP, of course, it's a super bummer to see them go. Never really could recapture their glory days, but man, the stuff that Jeremy Parrish and his team were doing over there, just fantastic. And Parrish came out and was talking a lot about what happened during the last year, and they were losing people, like they lost their website engineers.
That's no good.
The company was going down anyway, and they were just committed to doing the best they could and just coming out with really interesting stories. And if you look at 1UP over probably the last 2 years, I mean, they were doing a lot of deep dive stuff on a lot of really interesting topics, and it's a real shame to see them go. And Parrish moved over to IGN, so he'll, of course, has a job, but it's a shame to see a lot of the rest of the team is going to have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And UGO, I genuinely don't know too much about that site.
Yeah, I've heard of them here and there, but I don't think I've read a single thing from their site.
I think it was mostly media focused.
Not
video game media focused. So,
well, and the thing that's really disappointing about this to me is they're keeping IGN, and IGN has become just this behemoth of comics, games, of everything,
stuff, movies, music.
Yeah, and like you still need sites like GameSpy and 1UP out there to cater to that niche audience. And I think Ziff Davis is making a real bad move shutting both of those down. Yeah. I can understand maybe getting rid of GameSpy because they're not as relevant as they used to be, but I just don't think shutting down 1UP is the right move.
Yeah, no, it's big business thinking. They're working on the model of a corporation and conglomerate. And what you do is you absorb the pieces that work, get rid of the ones that you feel are not going to turn you a profit.
Yeah, it's the bottom. What's your bottom line? What's your ROI? I mean,
on a business standpoint, I understand why they did what they did, but as a consumer on our end, we're the ones that eventually suffer because now we have to figure out where to go next.
I mean, read Rock Paper Shotgun. They
Yeah.
do some of the best PC coverage you can get online.
Yeah,
And there's
Shack News.
Shack News is
awesome.
fantastic, yeah. But and I mean, if you look at the press releases that Ziff Davis has come out, they like IGN because it covers so many bases.
Yeah.
They're saying it's a multi-disciplined site that has penetration on iPhone and iPads and the web and all this other stuff. And I get it. It's just such a bummer, especially with how
Yeah.
much trouble IGN has been having lately.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
Yep.
Next news story, though, is not a super bummer. Neo Geo X getting 15 new games coming out in April.
In other news, Knobs bought 15 new games.
Stop
Yeah.
it! I haven't bought anything. Yeah.
So
Yet.
a lot of really
I
great
gotta find
games.
out where to buy them.
Yeah. A lot of really great games are coming out, such as Art of Fighting 3, Mark of the Wolves, King of Fighters 96, Metal Slug 2, Samurai Shodown 3, and so many more. Just a really good package, and also coming on whatever delivery method this is coming out on, a firmware update for the Neo Geo X,
Nice.
bringing who knows what, because they haven't said.
I
But it's
can't wait.
nice.
Such a weird thing that I bought.
But it's nice to see they're still supporting it, because I thought they'd come out with that first thing and it would sell okay, and they were like, well, it's not enough. Nobody bought it. We're not going to put out the rest of the stuff. It's okay. But
Well, I think on their if I was at their office, I was like, hey, we sold every one of them we produced, so
yeah,
we're doing good.
okay.
Yeah.
Next news story: the big rumor that's flying around is that Microsoft is going to announce their new console in April.
Good.
The rumor is that they're thinking about a one-off sort of press conference, just like Sony did, to announce the next Xbox, which is probably a smart move. That way, at E3 they can focus on just games.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as Ballmer doesn't gallop around the stage yelling at developers again, we're
Yeah.
all good.
Who's their lead guy over it? Don Matrick now, maybe at Xbox.
Sure.
I don't even know anymore.
Yeah. I kind of fell off that train of following people involved with Xbox when Jay Allard left, because that's when
Yeah.
he knew stuff was
Yeah.
bad.
It's maybe Phil Harrison now.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, they need a new Jay Allard. They need
Yeah,
somebody
they
to
need
come
a
out.
face. They don't have a face anymore.
And I'm surprised they don't use Larry Hurd, Major Nelson, more.
Yeah.
He's the face of Xbox typically, but he never comes out on stage. He's never out in front saying like, "Hey, man, you always see me."
Yeah, that's a
here's a new
shame
Xbox.
Steptoe
I would
left,
I would
because he
rather
could've
see.
easily-
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, Stephen Toulouse could
Yeah.
have easily handled being the frontman for Xbox, even if he wasn't on the technical side. Just being, he's a nerd icon at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would much rather see either him or Major Nelson instead of Morrison out there again, the harbinger of consoles.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a real kind of bummer team right now.
Yeah.
And the last news story here, a semi-bummer that we've all seen coming down the pipe here. Rock Band weekly DLC to stop in April.
Is it still going?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still going. 275 consecutive weeks, over 4,000 songs over the last 5 years. Is impressive as hell.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's just crazy. And they said they're still going to plan on putting out DLC. It's just not going to come out every week like it has been. And they came out front and said, we're working on other stuff. We need these people. They're working on Rock Band, and yeah, people are probably still buying it, but not to a crazy amount like they used to. And especially with new consoles coming out, like you got to put Rock Band 3 to bed at some point.
Yeah.
Which is
I mean,
totally
that's just
understandable.
that's just impressive. The amount of DLC that they've released for that game, period, is
Yeah.
impressive. But the fact that they've been doing it regularly for that's what, almost 3 years.
It's almost as long as we've been doing this show.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
5 years of nonstop ever since Rock Band 1 came out.
Every
crazy.
week. That's amazing.
Impressive.
Yeah, and it hasn't been like one song a week. It's usually like at the least 3 to 5. Sometimes they release like 2 or 3 albums a week.
Yeah.
It's crazy, craziness. So good on Harmonix.
Yeah, take a break.
Good job. Yeah, take a break. You earned it. And we're also going to take a break. We've earned it. Peace.
Mhm. All right.
So what do you think about Google ditching Android as their marketing?
I haven't seen that.
What?
I read that on, I think it was what site did I see that on? I thought that was crazy too. It might have been on Gizmodo.
Yeah, let's find out.
I have such a problem with eBay lately.
Why?
Because I'm trying to build up... Somebody had posted something on GAF, reminiscing about your Genesis collection. And I have some serious holes in my Genesis collection.
Yeah.
So I just started buying games. I bought Kid Chameleon complete in box. Everything is mint. It even has that little plastic hangy tab on it.
Oh, wow.
$15. I'm winning right now Quack Shot for 12.
Nice. Very nice.
Lost it in my reader.
No, I found it.
The only thing I can't find for a reasonable price is Comic Zone. I really want a copy of that.
Yeah,
I'll
got a
send
copy
you.
of that.
I'll send you a copy.
Yeah,
As long as
let's
it's
see.
got everything.
I'll have to check. It's in the big box. It's in the coffin right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, Google has killed the Android brand.
Yeah, the brand.
That's weird.
That's
I thought
really
that was really weird.
huh. That's maybe they're trying to make Google the brand rather than Android.
Well, yeah, they're
like
trying to make the Google whatever's
Google OS.
not the
Yeah.
This may be
Like
something
Google
in
Play.
advance. Yeah, this may be something in advance of the release of Google Glass.
Oh, maybe.
That's what it feels like.
They'll unify the OS, maybe.
Hopefully, I mean, the one thing I'm hoping for from Glass, besides it being usable, is that it integrates well with Android and you can do stuff from your phone and send it to Glass.
Yeah.
So that you can do that stuff in advance and then bring it up when you need it, rather than having to do everything through voice actions or through like whatever little touch panel they're gonna have this on the side of your head.
Yeah.
Because that product looks sweet.
All right, you guys ready to do this last segment here so I can go eat lunch?
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
4 o'clock. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1.
Damn.
All right, take 2. 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about tweets.
Sweet.
Wanted to give a shout out to Matt Crane, the designer of TVGP and Dynamic Soundtracks logos. He's also the gentleman that was behind Sesame Street Fighter. He has a Kickstarter out there. Just search for Matt Crane Kickstarter. He is making a whole bunch of posters of Sesame Street Fighter, and it has everybody, and it looks awesome. So go. I think the cheapest is like $1. So you have $1. Go throw him a couple bucks. I think it's at like $20. You get a poster of your own.
Nice.
So well worth it, and he does really great work. So go check that out. Darth Seabass tweets in, Mrs. Seabass surprised me with Saints Row 3 for Valentine's Day.
Yo.
That's true love. There, sir.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations for DLC? Sounds like all of it.
Just every last bit of it is tons of fun. I haven't run into anything. I honestly don't even know what's DLC and what's in the main game because of the way I purchased it. But
Yeah.
just
Enjoy,
everything.
sir.
Enjoy,
Exactly.
sir. All right, let's move on to emails here. Jeff writes in and says, are there any games that you played that you were able to extend the life of drastically with mods? I've been playing Brutal Doom recently, and I can't stop playing. It's what Doom would look like nowadays. I really need to get Brutal Doom.
That sounds awesome.
Brutal. If nobody has seen what Brutal Doom is, pause this podcast and go watch the trailer for, I think version 18 is the most recent one on YouTube. It is nuts.
All right, well,
Did
I'll
you
be right
see
back.
Did you see that one guy that from I think it was DeviantArt rendered it in what was it, like 4K resolution Doom?
No.
It looks insane with
That's
like 3D
nuts.
lighting effects, and the demon looks crazy.
That's
Nice.
That's really cool.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've ever had a game that I modded to a crazy degree. You know, like you see a lot of people modding Oblivion or Skyrim or Fallout 3 or games like that. I don't think I've ever done that to a crazy level like that.
I've done it once or twice. Oblivion, I kind of got a little more life out of due to mods.
Yeah.
And probably did the same thing with Fallout 3, although it's been quite a while since I played it, so I can't really remember what I put in there. A lot of it was like extra radio stations, so it was really just more motivation to continue exploring the wasteland.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside of the old patch for Barney Doom,
I guess I did mod Doom like that.
Yeah, come to think of it, I'm pretty sure I did too. I
Yeah,
remember a Star Wars Total Conversion for Doom. That was tons of fun.
Yeah.
and the Postal mod was was a blast.
Yeah.
But other than that, like just downloading mod packs for Unreal 2K4, just seeing what craziness people just decide to make in that game is just pretty much the only thing that's really extended any life for me.
I really want to play Just Cause 2 on the PC just for all of those crazy mods. Like, oh, you want to be Superman? Boom, we got a
Do
mod
I
for
own that? I think I own that.
Yeah, I think everybody who has Steam probably owns it by now. But
Probably.
I'd love to get in that game.
The other game, I actually would have to say XCOM Enemy Unknown because of the there's a mod called Toolbox that came out that was I just absolutely loved it. It gives you all these little options that you can tweak within the I think it's all just in like any files in the game.
Yeah.
That you can like change the percentage of certain nationalities showing up in the roster, and you can create like specific types of characters rather than it randomly assigning them. Like it gives you so many more options to play with in that game on top of the other options. There's like 12 different options that you can unlock by beating each difficulty.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be something that really expands the life of that game, and you're going to start seeing more and more stuff like that.
Yeah. All right, we got two questions in the chat here. Beans Fury writes in and says, "Are you excited for the Star Wars pinball tables coming next week for Pinball FX2?"
I am now.
Absolutely.
I am
Pinball FX2 and then Zen Pinball. I don't remember which platform which one is on, whatever. There's like 4 tables coming out, one for each of the 3 original movies, and one that's just a Boba Fett table. So
Can't go wrong with Boba Fett table.
nope,
Can't.
that's my motto. Montag writes in and says, "How do you feel about Dark Souls and games of its family?" Question mark. I love them. Like he's saying, like, what do you think about those super challenging games? We sort of talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
You know, a game demanding that you learn how to play it. Every once in a while, I love a game like that.
Yeah, I've got to be in the right mindset for it, but I do enjoy them.
A game that you can prove your skill with that game.
I do love that game. Like I keep going back to my game that you needed to learn how to play to really enjoy it was Gun Valkyrie, where that game was literally unplayable in any conventional sense.
Yeah,
until
outside of the game, until the game makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Well, and even that's a little bit different because it wasn't a matter of learning what the controls were supposed to do because they pretty much explain what the controls are supposed to do. It's a matter of physically training your hands to perform those actions.
Yeah.
Because it was that was an agility test more than anything.
Yeah, rewiring your brain.
Yeah, especially with the Duke. Oh my! Because that's when I first played Gun Valkyrie because it said Sega and it looked cool. Like that was my only.
Yeah, it was a Sega. That was an Xbox game, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was Smilebit too, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah, whenever I saw something coming out from Smilebit, I'm like, whatever it is, I'm just gonna buy it.
Yeah, and I tried playing that thing with the Duke, and it was impossible.
Yeah, it was rough.
I still remember going down to Boston's room. He's like, "Dude, I can't play this game. It looks awesome. I don't know what to do." And I sat there. I was over in his room like every day trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
And then was like, "Aha! You're not supposed to be on the ground."
Yeah, I came back from class. We were in our dorm. I came back from class one day, and you were just flipping in the air for 15, 20 minutes straight, and then you finished the level. I'm like, oh, I see.
What?
But because you lay waste to ridiculous amounts of enemies in that game.
Yeah.
Like before, but like it was like pre-Dynasty Warriors numbers.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Montag also asks thoughts on simulators. Chat has been talking a lot about games like Euro Truck Simulator 2, Arma 2, things like that. That is not a genre I can get into.
Yeah,
I respect
I like
them.
a splash of crazy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
respect them, especially like like Euro Truck Simulator too, like in those train simulators. Like, I respect it. Like, I
Yeah.
absolutely understand why people love those games. That's not a genre that I can get into at all.
They feel more like hobbyist games. They're not made for
Hmm.
video gamers. They are made for people who have an interest in a specific thing, like trains or trucks
Yes.
or cars.
My mind
They
went
are,
right to trains too.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like the Euro Train Simulator. It's like if you love European trains and you love one specific train and you want to drive across the European countryside, you can, and it's on Steam and it's pretty cheap.
and it's just incredible levels of detail. Like, I mean, the physics engine may not work perfectly, but that one dial that's supposed to, it's not doesn't work quite right on that one truck that's from 1950. They'll
Yeah,
have it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I absolutely respect it.
Yeah, they're absolute labors of love. And when it comes to like military simulators like Arma 2, I think they're great as frameworks for gamers
Yeah,
because you see things like Daisy coming out of them.
yeah. He also asks, which classic fighting game is your favorite? He said his is Capcom versus SNK2 on the GameCube, and that's a good choice. That was a good game.
Soul Calibur 2,
Yeah, I mean you can't really beat Soul Calibur 2.
you really can't.
I mean that quest mode. God,
Oh yes,
come on.
no frills, no anything, just pound dudes.
I mean Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Mortal Kombat 2,
I'm gonna say DOA too.
DOA 2 is great. DOA 1 is a hot mess, but DOA 2 is great.
Yeah, DOA 2 is amazing, and oh man, Samurai Showdown.
Oh yeah,
Like
Yeah,
Sam Show changed the game,
yeah.
especially in the arcades. But
yeah,
you got to give your props to MK2 for being just the juggernaut that it was.
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's give props to Pit Fighter, right, guys?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karate champion on the NES.
Oh God.
Karate Champion. But no, I honestly, if I had to go classic like 2D fighting game that I love more above anything else is Eternal Champions Challenge from the Dark Side.
Yeah.
That's still my benchmark for
Your
2D.
guilty pleasure fighting game.
No, I wouldn't call that a guilty pleasure.
It's a pretty
I
bad
don't know.
game.
I don't know, but that game did so much stuff that was so much fun.
Yeah, it did. It did do a lot of unique stuff. I
It
don't
did.
think it necessarily pulled it off very well, but at least it tried.
It did things that are just now becoming very, very popular that are in
Yeah.
fighting games.
Yeah,
Like the stage being part of your environment that you fight in.
a game
Not
ahead of
just
its
the
time.
background. I think so.
Yeah,
I loved it. I love that fighting roster too.
yeah, yeah. Just the craziest monsters.
Yeah. I always come back to Soul Calibur 2 simply because it's just so solid. It was so well balanced and so well built.
Yeah,
And
See,
you
I think
just
I think Soul Calibur a lot better.
really
the first
Yeah.
one.
Yes, I like Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast, and because it was
Oh,
like that
that's
first,
the one I'm thinking of.
the first
Okay.
arcade perfect game that you got at home.
Yeah,
See, I like Soul Calibur the original. I respect what it did. I felt it was a little chunky and slow in places where I think Soul Calibur 2 really cleaned up a lot of that and really just it might be just rose-colored glasses, but I mean I can always toss that in and load up Valdo and rock your world.
yeah.
I
That makes
feel
sense.
I feel much more confident about that difference between Soul Edge and Soul Calibur.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Soul Edge
definitely.
was just brutal. Like
Yeah,
it just
it really
was.
was.
It looked like FX Fighter with swords.
It's like DOA 1, where you look at it and you're like, this isn't even the same franchise. This
Yeah.
isn't even the same series. Like, what
Yeah.
is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Virtua Fighter 1, where you're like, what happened? All right, our last email for this week is from Chino. He says everyone has seen the vehicles that are advertising something, and it's wrapped all around it. Those cars that have a giant skin all over it.
yeah.
If you had to drive something that did this for a year and it had to be a game, any game, what would you drive and what game would it be? He says he would drive an Acura RSX advertising Dead Space or Piano 3. My game is any car with res.
Oh,
Yeah.
Imagine that orange dude on the side of your car.
Oh, I would love
Yep.
it. Just the progression from front to back.
Yep.
The
Or
big
that
splash.
Or that wallpaper we love from Every Extend Extra Extreme.
Yes.
That lady with all the colored lines.
Yeah. That face is so perfect. I love that. Oh man, if I had to pick a game. Right now, I would probably be either like a Sura's Wrath or Lollipop Chainsaw. Just for utter ridiculousness.
I think you'd get some looks for a lollipop chainsaw car, though.
It
Probably.
would do its job. Ow.
Yeah, it would definitely do its job.
Yeah, without question. If I had to pick one, I would probably go with Brutal Legend, just because you got the timing of the PC re-release and just that,
There you
like,
go.
Ormagoden right on the front hood,
Yep.
just sitting there, just looking all demony.
I think my joke pick would be SimCity for the Super NES. Why not? Just wrap your car with your city. Why not?
There you go.
Beans Fury in chat says Knobs needs to dress up as Juliet for Halloween. Now you gave him that idea, and pictures are gonna happen. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You made your own bed here, sir.
I love that game.
All right, that's all our emails and tweets for this week. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Emails tvgpfans@gmail.com, and everything else is on the right-hand side of the page. And don't forget to watch us live streamed, twitch.tv/E1M1 Network.
And don't forget to join the forums. Mark yourself on the map that's in the off-topic thread. And join us for Monday Night Game Night tonight at 10 p.m. EST. Everybody's welcome.
And speaking of tonight, don't forget to start TVGP Game Club number 11. Check for all the details. You have a month to play Alan Wake.
And you have give yourself about an hour to learn the dodge mechanic and really nail it down. Trust me.
There are some good suggestions already happening in the forum thread. Go check it. Make the resurrection of TVGP plays successful. And we'll see you all next week.
Later.
Peace.
All right, Montauk and Beans for are already coming up with. Are going to start putting some titles in here. I have two though already.
I got a small list here myself.
Knobs, do you have any?
So,
No.
Okay,
go
I
ahead and read
have.
yours.
I felt like punching stuff and Come On Industries.
Yeah, I totally have Come On Industries.
Yeah,
let me go through mine really quick.
yeah. What do you got?
Running out of February, DOA 5 Ballet, Functional Killing Machine, Why Is It Always Sell, Come On Industries, All Roads Go Nowhere, Jungle Full of Dead Ends, State of the PlayStation Union, How Clammy Are Your Hands, and Brotastic.
Bro, I still really like Come On Industries. Okay,
Yeah, that's just too good. Is it going to be like the word come on, or are we going to do like C.M.O.N?
No, I was doing C''MON Industries.
Okay,
Sort of
cool,
like
cool.
an Arrested Development thing going on.
Yeah. Come
It
on!
should just be C and quotation marks. Come on,
Yeah.
Industries.
Montauk has Google Packs, Versatile Bolts, Million Mile Vision, PS Foe 2, a Real Cabinet, a Sad Little Box, the Orb, the Black Box, Shooting Over the River, the Council of Consoles, Rest in Pieces, sorry, Intricate Simulations, Hobbyists, Knobs Dress as Juliet, Penetrating iPad,
Ooh.
oh god, a Very Somber Middle, Goggle Packs, not Google, yeah, messed that one up. I still think we should do Come On Industries.
Yeah, that one's too good to pass
I
up.
think that one's the winner here this week. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 279 for February 25th, 2013. Come on, Industries.
Every bad guy starts with a C.
Yep.
What is happening in the background?
That is most of my family. Yeah. Yeah.
All
There's
right.
only so much control I can exercise over them.
All right, you guys can stop recording, and we're gonna head offline now. Everyone, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Great turnout this week. Thanks everyone for chatting. See you all
Yes.
next week.